hi, hello friends, it's Hales. I'm back again with another author interview. Today I will be chatting with MT Zimny, who wrote the Apex Cycle trilogy and Skalterra By Nightmare, which will be a duology. Today we will be specifically talking about Skalterra By Nightmare and all of the fun things that go along with writing a portal fantasy and writing a new series after the debut series is over. And some little bits about WorldCon and character building, world building, and everything in between. So stay tuned and enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited too. Let's just hop on in then.
Let's do it.
So Skalterra By Nightmare is the first book in your new duology series. Can you briefly tell us what this book is about?
Okay, so it follows Wren, who's a recent high school graduate, and she's been waitlisted at her dream college, which she is super bummed about. And then magicians drag her consciousness into an alternate reality where now she has to keep both worlds from collapse. And she's very, very upset about it.
Casual.
Yeah.
That's what every, high school graduate going into college wants to hear.
Well, we always have a fun summer right before we go to college, right?
There's always an adventure. Mine didn't include going to an alternate dimension, but,
Well, womp womp.
Did yours?
No, but I did almost have search and rescue called on me in the Cascade Mountain Range.
Oh, it was that summer.
It was that summer.
Well, we all have our own adventures.
It's so fun. They were on standby, but then my dad found us. So
I love this journey for you.
Don't go in the woods with me.
Noted.
I had a couple of author pals. They let me take them on hikes. There's ID Marie and Libby Weber. The middle of the night.
I mean, it was like 3 a.m., right?
Oh, it was. We got up at 3 a.m. because it's Mount Rainier, which is national park, and it can get super crowded. So we got up at very early o'clock and then drove to the national park, but it was gorgeous. So, and we did not get lost. It really was just the one time.
Sure.
Yeah.
I believe you. Okay. So what inspired Skalterra?
Oh gosh. Well, I really like sleeping. And that's sort of a big theme in Skalterra is, every time she falls asleep, that's when the magicians drag her consciousness into this alternate reality. And I think it goes back to, there was one summer, these are all like summer adventures, which is probably why it's place
a summary book.
It is a summary book. It was in college, and there was one summer where I was like, I'm going to start as a writing exercise, I'm going to write down all of my dreams. And things got weird real quick. By the end of the summer, I was like, we're done. I can't, this is too much. But that exercise and all of the really freaking weird dreams that it brought, I know it kind of put this idea in my head of an alternate, not even an alternate world, but just the idea of piloting a lucid night, that's what they're called in the book, but a lucid dreaming body, because you can will whatever powers you want into yourself, if you are aware enough while you're dreaming. And that's kind of what I ran with. And then I was on a train in France at one point, and then I was like, hey, this is giving me more ideas. And then I was going to set the book was not going to be dual realities. It's going to be the Pacific Northwest, and then instead of a alternate world, it's going to be France.
Sure. France is an alternate world to the US.
It really is. But then, I don't know French. I've only been to France the one time. So I was like, it's more fun than France? Fake worlds that don't exist. So, because I get to make all the rules and I can't get it wrong. So,
and you don't have to speak French?
I don't have to speak French at all.
Do you lucid dream?
Sometimes. Huh. I don't dream much anymore because I don't sleep much anymore.
Hashtag parent life.
Oh my God. Yes. But by the end of that one summer, it was happening frequently, which is one way that you if you do want to lucid dream, it's write down your dreams, but it gets weird. I don't know. It wasn't very restful nights of sleep. So.
I believe that. I also believe that Wren believes that.
Yes.
So Skalterra is very obviously a portal fantasy that you travel in your dreams, and the main character goes to this fantasy world. How was this different for you to write than, say, the Apex Cycle, which was strictly a contemporary type fantasy?
Yes. So the Apex Cycle was so great because you just set it in a fictional city, and you already know how cities and high schools work. So you already have your sandbox, and you don't have to explain. You don't have to explain to your reader what high school is. The world building, like, you have that leg up. With a fantasy, there's a lot more involved. It's not as straightforward as being like, oh yes, they have superpowers. It's, oh, this is the magic system, this is how it works, these are the rules. Also, here's all this backstory to how it turned out. This, like, it's so much more involved. And it was something that I was like very nervous about with Skalterra, but I do think I did a good job. Oh my gosh, the naming, you have to like come up with like fantasy names. What's that? I can't just call people like Alex.
No, you can't.
You have to find fun names like Galahad.
Yeah.
But like, you don't want to pull random names out of your butt. Like, you can, but like, you don't, I don't know. I didn't want to, because it didn't make sense, because Skalterra did used to be part of our world. So like, it would have our world influences. So it's like, okay, so it has to have our world influences, but it has to sound like fantasy to be believable to the reader that it is in fact like an alternate world. But also I need to pick names and make sure that none of them are like offensive or culturally appropriative.
That sounds like a lot of things to worry about when it comes to naming places and characters and things.
Yes. The good news is names are really easy to change.
Yeah.
Because Control F exists. So.
As long as you don't make a typo.
As long as you don't make a typo. That's what editors are for.
That's fair. So how did you end up coming up with names?
So I sort of broke Skalterra into regions. It has like 7 main areas. And each region sort of has different influences. And depending on where in that land a certain character was from, I would give them like a different type of name. A lot of them are Gaelic, because at the same time I'm like, Gaelic, I'm very Irish. My family is extremely Irish. So I feel very comfortable like playing in that sandbox. So a lot of the regions do have Irish vibes, but then there's one city in particular called Tulir, and everyone there has like Arthurian names. That's how we get like Galahad and Isolt. Yeah. Oh, I use a lot of Shakespearean names as well, especially around the Baron. And the Baron is fun because she is awful. But like, we kind of support her, because who doesn't like to support women's wrongs? And her name is Tamora Alarbus, which is, of course, a reference, of course, to Titus Andronicus, which is Shakespeare's bloodiest play. And Tamora is the queen of the Goths. She's been conquested by Titus Andronicus, and her sons she's been wifed up by him as like a trophy, and her sons are there. And Titus is like, well, I'm going to kill your oldest son, because that's what you get for fighting in a war, new wife. So he kills him, and his name is Alarbus. So that's how I got Tamora Alarbus. And then what's fun is Tamora has a bodyguard that she is absolutely in control of. And I named him Titus to sort of give the Goth Queen her agency. So
I love that. You have your own little backstory that you've rewritten Shakespeare.
I would, yes. There's also like a short story I've written that takes place in the world, and it has Tamora's like cousin in it. And so I named her Lavinia, who is also a character from Titus Andronicus. And she's sort of like the young innocent who ends up in this like gross feud as a victim. And that's kind of Tamora's cousins plays that role in that short story. So yeah, lots of Shakespeare.
Tell me more about the short story. It's for an anthology. That's where you wrote it for.
Yes. So the Blades for Hire anthology was put together by Brandon Hall, and my short story is Skalbroken. Ooh, I did the art for the swords. I'm very proud.
Beautiful.
And it, like I said, it takes place in the world of Skalterra, but it is not about any of the characters that you would find in Skalterra by Nightmare. And it follows a woman who is a skullbreaker. I'm sorry, my dog is chasing his tail right now. So Skalbroken is a story about a woman who is 5 weeks postpartum, and she's on a magic heist because she is a skullbreaker, and she is a very good thief. But men in this world don't like hiring women because the patriarchy exists everywhere. So her husband is like the face of the business, but the client insists on going on this heist as well, which means her husband has to always also go, and it also means their baby's going with them. And so she's pulling off this heist, 5 weeks pregnant, and dealing with postpartum depression. And it's on my website for free to listen to, narrated by Elizabeth Phillips. It's only 39 minutes. It's free on my website. Elizabeth Phillips is amazing. If you've listened to any of my audiobooks, that's who does them. And she absolutely knocks Skalbroken out of the park. So,
yeah, I have never had children, but when I read that short story, I teared up.
I have gotten that response from like several women who don't have children, and also women or who do have children. But like,
right, that one, at least that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think like you don't have to have children to like understand the way that like women's issues are so overlooked.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of the or a big theme of it is she's like, no one told me it would be like this. Like no one told me I would feel like a stranger in my own body. No one told me that like, and it's this whole thing. And I'm like, everyone tells you that as soon as you have a baby, you're gonna know what love is for the first time. That's not always the case. Sometimes you just end up depressed.
Yeah. And also like your baby's a little tiny stranger that you created.
Yes. They are a stranger. And like, you know, some women are immediately bonded with their babies, but so many struggle to like, you know, feel a connection at first. And then you have that mom guilt of like, I'm a bad mom because I don't immediately feel like this is the new center of my solar system. I guess, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
no, that
makes
common, sense.
But then like, you know, and it's not that you don't love your baby. Of course you love your baby and you would immediately die for that baby. But like, right. I don't know, as a whole, I think women are just like sort of lied to by media about like what having a baby looks like and feels like.
Yeah. And I feel like nobody wants to talk about the tougher sides of any women's issue. Everyone wants to talk about how it's sunshines and rainbows, but they never want to get into the tough things.
No one wants to talk about postpartum depression. Yeah. It's like, you're doing it wrong. You're bad at having babies.
Would you have liked to have this story when you were postpartum?
Oh, yes. Oh my God. Like, just to see like a mom, I guess, or like even like a new mom. Because I think people just, they don't like stories about mothers. Like there's something about it that just like turns people off to a story. And I don't know what it is, because but I do think the way that our society is set up as a whole, I think it only recently are we getting like lots of media that feature women as the leads to be, you know, gosh, I saw something about like Marvel movies and how when they first started the MCU, Scarlett Johansson as the Black Widow was like super hypersexualized. But now we can have Florence Pugh as, you know, Black Widow's sister, and she's, you know, she gets to wear like outfits that aren't made of latex, and that's great. So I do think that like our media is getting better at showing women to be, you know, more than just like sex objects, right? Which I do think plays into like the whole, we don't want moms in our stories because moms aren't sexy.
Well, you know, moms aren't people; they're only moms, and that's how it comes across.
Yes,
you're not allowed to have your own life, your own hobbies, your own things. No. You're only a mom at that point.
Only a mom. I do wish I'd had a story like Skalbroken, but since I didn't, I wrote it.
That's the way to do it.
That's how it's done.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, look at speaking of women-led media.
So good. I love K-pop Demon Hunters, and I'm never getting over it.
We watched it this morning again.
I listened to the soundtrack this morning, so I get it.
My daughter's a really big fan.
You know what? She and I have a lot in common now.
Me too.
If you were dragged into Skalterra as a lucid nightmare, what would you look like?
This is like a really deeply personal question if you think about it, because the whole point of Skalterra is like when you become a nightmare, you become like an idealized version of yourself, because it's supposed to make you like a better, faster, stronger warrior. Your subconscious sort of forms your nightmare to look how you wish you looked. So this is like, Mary, what are all the things you don't like about yourself?
Tell me all of your insecurities right now.
I feel too tall, so my nightmare would be like shorter.
You'd be a small girl.
I'd be a small girl with knives. No. All my main characters, all my FMCs will always be tall girls because tall girls need representation.
They do.
No offense to all the small girls with knives out there.
There's already enough of them. We
There's
need
a
tall
lot.
girls too.
There is a lot of them. And a lot of people on the internet think I am like a normal height because they'll see pictures of me with Connor, who's my husband, and they don't realize that Connor is 6'5".
Connor is tall.
Connor tall. And I'm tall for a woman. I'm like getting close to 5'8".
We're a similar height.
It's tall. And then
you're taller than me sitting down though.
I have the word. Look, I have the longest torso and the shortest legs.
Oh,
okay. So
my favorite thing.
My nightmare would probably be like more proportionate. Maybe less of a giant head because I also have a giant head. Like hats don't fit me.
Oh my gosh. So you'd have
the Irish.
You'd be tall, but like you'd have longer legs.
Yeah,
you would have
a
smaller head.
A smaller head.
And like really like silky smooth hair.
It wouldn't be silky smooth. It wouldn't be like straight. It would have like this, it would be like very almost Merida, but not as curly, but like not frizzy.
Like just curls.
Just curls, but they look like perfectly manicured. Like
I love it.
But naturally. I have very curly hair. It's just it frizzes so bad. And then if I can't see myself in the mirror, I just assume I look terrible because I can like feel it against my neck and I'm like, it's unruly, it's bad. So now I just I braid it back, I pin it up, and then I know exactly how I look. I will go in to get my daughter up in the morning, and if I haven't put my hair up yet, she goes, Mama, where's your clip?
Oh, you've made it a thing.
It's a thing. So
would your nightmare have an undercut?
Oh, probably. I loved the undercut.
The undercut was very cool.
The undercut, which is funny because Wren's nightmare does not have an undercut, but Wren has like a back of the head undercut in the real life. But that's because she's dealing with trichotillomania, which is also something that I deal with. So I would probably also have more eyelashes like Wren as a nightmare.
It's lots of lashes. Love
lots of lashes. So
I think if I was a nightmare, so that way I can also
get down to my level.
I know, right? I think I would be a lot more graceful because I am not a graceful human in any way. I think my voice would not be so deep for a woman.
What? Your voice is great.
Thank you. I would have a different voice. I don't know what it would sound like, but it wouldn't sound like this. I would have my bangs again for sure. I would probably have wavy hair, like not frizzy wavy hair, because I technically have wavy hair, but I don't know how to do it and I don't care enough.
It's just a lot of work.
Yeah. I probably would also have more tattoos.
Oh, okay.
That's the main thing. I'd be like taller with, wavy hair, more tattoos. I would just be the alt version of myself.
The alt version. You say with a septum piercing already, like
this is true. Okay, I would definitely be keeping these bad boys.
As you should. That's a fun element in Skalterra because tattoos do play a role, and it's like, in real life, tattoos are a way to like become an idealized version of ourselves. Like,
yeah.
And so you see like tattoos like transfer over because it's like, yeah, you chose that tattoo. But I do feel like someone who had like tattoo regret, their tattoos probably wouldn't transfer.
So are there any inside jokes or like fun details in Skalterra that you either don't think people will pick up on or would never know, or like that you hope that they do pick up on?
This is one that people would never know, but Jonquil is named Jonquil because that was my sister's nickname from my mom. It was like her pet name growing up. No one called her Jonquil except my mom. It was like a very specific like mom nickname for my sister. And I named Jonquil because in the Apex cycle we have Tonka, and Tonka is named after my mom's pet name for my brother growing up.
That's so funny.
He liked to play with Tonka trucks, so she called him Tauntaun and Tonka. So Tonka and Jonquil, my two cats, are both named after my siblings. But ironically, a lot of the human characters in Skalterra are named after pets. We have Ethel, Ethel, Gladys, and Sarah, who are like the three old ladies of Skalterra. Those are all cats that have been owned by my friend Madeline. Teddy and Olive are both dogs. Liam's parents, who are missing / presumed dead, they are Henry and Sophie, who are also two dogs. The librarian is Ronald. named after my friend Haley's cat. Are you looking at him? Is he?
Actually, I don't know where he is. I was
He's
kind of
somewhere.
looking for him, but I'm like, he's somewhere being orange.
Coming up with names is hard. And I had over 70 characters in the Apex cycle. So I was feeling pretty fresh out of names. So I just looked at pets. So
Well, there's nothing more fun than naming a pet after it with a person name.
yeah. Well, when we did an interview for the launch event, and you asked me a similar question, I started talking about all the pet names that are in the books, and my mom was sitting in the middle of the audience, and I just saw her go, "These are all my dogs."
You could see the realization flashing through her eyes.
Yeah. So the other one that I have a lot of readers point out to me if they've read the Apex cycle before, it is a little Easter egg that is a nod to Sammy's story, because the school that Wren is trying to get into is Von Leer University, and the mascot is the Vikings. And Vikings obviously play a big role in the Apex cycle. Conversely, I have my prequel comic that I made for the Apex cycle. I did not plan this. I just knew it was behind my head. And while the universes of the Apex cycle and Skalterra By Nightmare are not the same universe, these stories do not happen in the same world. I do have an Easter egg to Skalterra in this, because there's a story about how the Apex are first like made public, and it's a gas explosion at a university, and we get this little guy, and he's wearing a Von Leer University hoodie.
I never knew this. What the heck?
This, and I debuted this over a year before Skalterra came out.
Did you do that on purpose? Like you knew?
I did.
You knew?
Yes. Yes.
Girl. Wow.
Taylor Swift over here.
Yeah, you were just like, oh my God. Okay, I have goosebumps. I'm like, what do you mean?
So that one's
so
fun.
cool.
The squirrels at the end of the book, when Liam and Wren are touring Von Leer's campus, and Liam's like, there's a squirrel with two tails, and Wren's like, you sound crazy, and he's like, yeah, I think it stole its tail from another squirrel at Gonzaga University, the school I went to. My older brother told me that there was a squirrel with two tails and a squirrel with no tail. So I never saw them, but
the fabled,
yes,
weird
so I had
tailed
to
squirrels.
Include those as well.
I love that. I love just including random lore.
Yeah, we love a good Easter egg.
Yeah. I mean, no one would know that except you and your family, but you know what?
No. The Vikings one, though, people pick up on.
I definitely did not. That went over my head. Wren is vastly different than Sammy is.
Yes.
Personality-wise and appearance-wise, just in general, vastly different. How was the experience of writing in Wren's POV after spending 3 books writing in Sammy's?
That's a good question, because they are so different. Samantha and Wren, I think, would do really well in each other's situations, but no one wants to read about a character who is well equipped for the challenge at hand. So Sammy very much demands to be involved when everyone says no, take a back seat, and she says absolutely not. And then she kind of makes it everyone's problem. Wren, on the other hand, does not want to be involved in this narrative, and everyone says, too bad, step up or you're gonna die.
Polar opposites.
We have very much like, it's interesting because Sammy starts off reluctant, but really for like just that first 10% of beta. And then when everyone continues to needle her and like, they keep trying to kidnap her, she's like, fine, I will make this everyone's issue. And then she just keeps doubling down for 3 straight books.
I always felt like she was reluctant in the beginning because she was like confused. Like she was like, yeah, I don't understand why this is a big deal. I don't know why you're bothering me. Why are they trying to kidnap me? And then she's like, you know what? I'm tired of this happening.
Yes.
I'm gonna do something about it. And everyone's like, no, no, leave it up to the other people. And she's like, no
No,
one's doing
no.
anything.
No one's doing anything. And you know what? Sammy gets so much slander for being like a bit of a wrecking ball and sort of
She
going
is.
rogue a lot, which she does. And yes, it is like causes issues, but she is a go-getter. She has initiative and her plans like aren't bad. It's
Yeah.
just things go sideways, usually because of some outside force. It's
Yeah.
not Sammy who's messing up her own plans. Her plans are good. Sammy does make dumb decisions, but she is smart.
It's
Um,
like she has these great plans, but she doesn't account for the outside world
factors.
impacting her plans. She's like, this is
Yeah,
obviously going to be a good plan. There's no reason it should go wrong
right,
because she's a teenager and doesn't think broadly
right.
enough.
Well, in Delta, when they go to sink quote unquote the city, they're like, we're gonna sink it just 12 feet. And it's going to work until the bad guys show up and just like
Yeah.
wreck everything. So I don't just justice for Sammy. But yes, Wren is
Justice for
different.
Sammy.
Justice for Sammy.
I
I,
love her.
I love her so much. I'm rereading Delta right now and I'm just like, yes, girl. She's great. But Wren is very different because she never has like that. Oh, now it's like, now I'm going to really step up. And the way that Sammy does, Wren is resisting almost the whole time. We do see her kind of get more into it later on, but she still very much is a grouch. She's a lot, she starts a lot angrier than Sammy. When we meet Wren, she has just gone through some stuff and she is very jaded and very untrusting of other people. And it presents itself as just the most scathing sarcasm. And she's not in the business of making friends. She will be mean to you. And Sammy, on the other hand, when we meet her, she's very much just like, yeah, man, if you just leave me alone, like we're totally cool. And then um as those books go on, Sammy gets kind of more jaded, while Wren's on an opposite track where she's like learning, oh wait, I can like people.
Yeah.
There are good people. Um, so like writing that was very, different, but they're two very valid stories, I guess, or arcs,
Hmm.
um, especially for like that age group.
Yeah.
Um, but they are both very funny.
Hmm.
I can't not write a main character who's not cracking jokes at inappropriate times, um, and about inappropriate things. So
It's so true. I find your books to be so hilarious. Like the things that the characters say and think have me laughing nonstop.
they're if I can like make myself chuckle while I'm writing them, then like I'm like, oh, I've done my job.
Yeah.
So
You're like, no one else has to be amused. I'm amused.
I'm amused. Oh gosh, like those first few chapters of Skalterra, just every interaction she has with Liam. It's like she's so mean and he is so unbothered, which
I will
makes
say
her meaner.
in those first few chapters, my favorite interactions are I think it might be the same interaction. I'm actually not sure, but it's when she's in her room and he's outside her door and he's just talking and she's like she comes to because she's fighting going to Skalter. She's like, nope, I resist. I don't want to be
Mhm.
there. I'll check my email. And he's outside her door and he's like just talking and she's like, what is he even going on about? It's like, who's watching the store?
Is
John
it John
Quill, I think.
Quill?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I knew I was gonna love them as soon as I read that part.
They're so funny. They're so
Yeah.
like, and he's well equipped to like manage her because like you can't hurt him.
No. He's like,
He
that's
just
fine.
he takes it in stride and he's like, okay, he's a golden retriever. Like he's
Yes.
very much a golden retriever, which we all know I like to write my golden retriever boys.
I know.
But he's just like, yeah, I get it.
Which of your two female main characters are you most like?
Oh, it depends on the day.
How so?
Oh gosh. Because sometimes I just want to be left alone like Wren. Um,
Word.
oh, wait. And like Wren, she's dealing with the trichotillomania, which is the compulsive hair pulling that like I deal with. But I think I might resonate just slightly more with Sammy. It's just because her self-preservation skills are just like a little bit worse.
Sure.
And she's a little bit more mess around and find out.
Yeah.
It's like I don't care to think. I mean, I showed you my hand.
I was like, yeah.
Where's the hand? I'm in karate and I took board breaking too seriously. So
So now you have a very bruised hand.
I do. And on it's just very Samantha of me, if I'm completely honest, because that would be
100%.
Samantha, who like doesn't have to prove herself
At all.
she does not, but she's like, I'm gonna. And that is me.
That is 100% you.
I, you know,
The way that everything's a competition.
everything.
Called
Everything.
Even if it's a competition
Look.
with yourself, like nothing is just a like I have this goal. It's like, no, I have to do better than this last time I did this thing.
I have to do better than Mary in June.
Yes, exactly.
Everything is a competition. I have absolutely nothing to prove, but I'm going to prove it anyway. And just stubborn. Oh, so stubborn. Wren's stubborn too, though.
I agree though that you're more like Sammy.
I do. I feel more like Sammy. Wren is more calculated. Both of them are very smart, but Sammy's very much the mad scientist type of smart, where she's like, we're just gonna go for it.
What happens if I do this? I guess we're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. That's very me. So,
yes.
Oh, and just like the absolute inability to like express her feelings.
Like, no, feelingless, thank you.
So we're not, that stuff's embarrassing. Like, we're not.
Feelings gross.
You.
Okay, well, since we brought up karate, you have very clearly been taking karate for like what, the last year and a half, 2 years?
Just a year.
Just a year?
Just a year, I know, right?
That's crazy. You've really gone for it.
Hell yeah.
How has taking karate like impacted your writing?
Oh gosh, the fight scenes, like I approach them in like a whole different way. There's on one hand, like karate itself has like helped write fight scenes because you have a better sense of what it feels like to be in a fight, and how you're going to react to the fast pace of a fight and how you're going to respond to a fist coming at your face. I do think that, writing 3 books before Skalterra also helped write the fight scenes in Skalterra. Even like if you look at just the Apex cycle, and I wrote all of them without being in karate, I did join kickboxing actually when I was writing beta to like at least learn how to throw a kick and a punch. But I didn't do any like sparring. It was very like an aerobic type of kickboxing. Yeah. Anyway, that first big fight, like one-on-one melee type fight in beta, it's very very Shakespearean in a way that it's just like, and then they fight. It's not a bad scene. It's just I don't go into the details of fighting because I'm like, I don't know the details. Like, if I write this and I don't actually know what it's like to be in a fight, people who do know how to fight are going to read it and be like, that's not how it works. But if I keep it nice and vague and at least just like focus on like the feelings, or how I imagine I might feel in a fight, or just kind of skim over like the heavier action, it's like, okay, I can buy that. By the end of Epsilon, the 3rd book in the Apex cycle, the fights are a lot more choreographed, but they took a lot more effort to write than the fights in Skalterra. Skalterra, the fights were just like, oh, you have a sense of what a fight feels like. You have a sense of how it moves. I do have a lot of feelings about writing fights in general that I don't know if those feelings are influenced by my time in karate at all, or just like, or if it's influenced by, writing 4 books. I think sometimes newer authors will rely on fights and action to make their books interesting. I don't think action inherently makes a book interesting. I think you can end up with very, very boring action very, very fast, especially if there's like no reason for it. And it's like, oh, of course there's a reason for it. The bad guy showed up. It's like, okay, but how are we, how is the character changing like through this fight? Like, what does this fight change in this overall story? And like you can have those little meaningless fights, but they're not fights that we need to be zooming in on, if that makes sense. We
They don't need to
don't
be drawn
need
out.
they don't need to be drawn out. We don't need the nitty gritty of like every throw, every punch. Um, we can get like a Spark Notes version, not a Spark Notes version, but like
And
something
then they
that's
fought.
not. And then they fought. Yeah. So like when I write a big fight scene, and my big fight scenes can be a whole chapter, sometimes longer, I am doing so for the fights where my character is somehow coming out the other side different, or having learned something, or having backtracked, or having, in some cases, physically changed. Like we see me take this very literally in one of the chapters in Skalterra. So yeah, but like fight scenes, like if you do them right, like they can be so good. But I think too many people use them as a crutch. They don't need to all be drawn out and over choreographed, because you're also, when you're fighting, you're not thinking about the choreography of the fight. You're thinking about surviving for the next second.
Yeah, that makes sense. That
I feel the
is,
same way about spicy scenes, but I don't write those.
yeah, I was gonna say that that's kind of where my brain went. I was like, I think that's valid for any kind of action.
Yes, I think spice, and again, I don't write spice, I write YA, but I do think like if I were to write spice, I would approach spicy scenes the same way I approach fight scenes. It's like, what greater purpose does this serve? We don't, granted, like erotica is a whole genre, and yes, we are there for the spice, but like,
Right.
when you have books like Fourth Wing, or Love Hypothesis, I love Hypothesis. Um, you It's not spicy scenes every chapter. The
Hmm.
point of the book is not the spice. Um, the same way the point of my books, it's not the fighting, but you have the fighting, and so it's like, what does that scene do for the plot?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to approach it. There are definitely books that have spice or, fight scenes where I'm like, did this need to be here? Because this is
yeah,
this is like a weird time for that, but okay, sure.
yeah. It's like that action of any kind does not necessarily make it better.
So, kind of in a similar vein, the only weapon that Wren is able to conjure is a flail. Why a flail?
You know what? I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know. I'm a
Vibes.
plantser. So I have a plan for my books. I know where I want them to end up, but I'll discover a lot of things in the process. Um, and I think this comes from my background in improv, especially. And so when I was writing the scene where Orla was teaching her like how to create a sword out of the skull magic, I don't know. I was like, flail, uh, because it was just kind of goofy in the moment. And
Yeah.
then the very next chapter we have one of those big fight scenes I was talking about, and I was like, only flails. Um, and it sort of becomes a running. It's a gag, but it's also it becomes like a pretty big part of like Wren is someone who wants the answers. Wren is someone who wants to be correct all of the time. She wants to be able to do the things. Wren is not someone who can handle failure. And the fact that she can only make flails
Just kills her.
kills her. And flails are so difficult to use
They're not beginner
effectively.
friendly.
They're not beginner friendly, and there's little to no good resources on using them. So we have this really fun scene where she's literally like she's googling larpers because she's like, they've got to know, so they've got to know.
They gotta know something about flails.
They have to. And I feel like realistically, if I were to go look for someone who knows about flails, I'm going to look at LARPers, because like they do their research. Like the
Yeah.
LARPers are going to know. And so we see, her trying, and even like, even when she tries to make a shield, it's a flail.
It's a great shield.
It's yeah.
Works
So
so well.
but people love the flail.
It's funny. It's funny.
It's
It's like
funny.
also like you don't see it ever. It's not something people are not like,
No.
ah, yes. And then this character had a flail. I think the only time I've ever seen a flail was in Quest for Camelot. There's that one monster that has a flail. And I think that's the only time I've ever seen
Yeah.
a flail in like
Yeah, they're
anything.
not. It's like what badass warrior hero is pulling out this limp like
Thing with a ball with a spiky ball up.
yeah. Oh, she's great. I love Wren and her dumb flails, and she's sort of like, I don't know, embraces the flails. And then it's fun because it pushes her to push the limits of her abilities.
Yeah. She's
Because she
like, okay,
can
well,
only
clearly I can't make a weapon.
no. So plot wise, it worked out really well because I didn't have swords she could rely on. So she figures out that she can morph her nightmare form into just like these, bit by bit into a monster,
Into
um,
a nightmare.
into a true nightmare.
Yeah.
But it starts with her creating like these serrated bone spikes that she grows out of her arm. And that's what she prefers to fight with. Um, Flails are not her jam. She does use a flail in action scene later on, and another character like gives her crap for it, like, oh, a flail, that's kind of violent, and she's like, what do you want me to do? Like,
This is what I've got.
no, it's which is fun because the character giving her crap is like a very like feels very morally superior, but then like I don't you kind of get to learn more about her, but yeah,
Yeah.
the
I
flails are
love
good.
that.
They're a fun time.
I love the flails. You write some of my favorite villainous characters. How was the experience of writing Ciaran different from writing Adrestus?
Okay,
Tell me all the things, Mary.
all the things. So Adrestus sucks.
Yes.
He is terrible, truly horrible. So much fun to write. I'm not gonna lie. He's so funny without meaning to be funny,
Hmm.
but he's also horrifying and truly evil. I thought it was interesting at WorldCon on several of my panels, different panelists would bring up how we need more nuanced villains who have like a good reason for being a villain and like everyone's a person. And I'm like, my villain's a pedophile.
My villain is a bad egg. Point
He's
blank.
terrible. And so, but everyone also agrees that he's terrible, but he's probably hot, but he's also terrible. And so you don't get to
He
really
is probably
enjoy.
hot.
He is probably hot.
Yeah, he is
um,
probably hot, which makes it that much worse that he is actually
yes,
evil.
actually very, very evil. Um, Cannot be understated.
I didn't think I realized how truly evil he was until the third book. Like, because I was like, he's bad. He seems
Mhm.
hot, but like he's bad. Okay, I can see that like he does not have the best for anyone, like intent
Mhm.
wise. But I didn't really realize how terrible he was until that last book, and then you really like, no, no, make no mistake, he's evil.
Make no mistake, he's a groomer.
Yeah.
He's he's bad, bad. And I try not to like make a spectacle of it in the
Yeah.
Apex cycle, especially in Epsilon, where Sammy is in for like close proximity with him for a very large portion of the book. He very much has all the power for that whole middle chunk. And I didn't want to make a spectacle of Sammy's trauma and the I don't want to do spoilers,
Right.
the connection she has with him. But I do think I found a good balance of alluding to it. Sammy herself calls him out on it a couple
Hmm.
times. And then we have the scene where Sammy tells Wesley about the nature of that connection. And I
Yeah.
think in that scene, when we especially see like Sammy's just absolute shame and Wesley's absolute horror, like we do get a pretty good picture of like, oh yes, this is actually like really bad.
Yeah.
So while Adrestus was a very, very, very fun villain to write, you don't get to like enjoy him.
No.
So I wanted to write a villain in Skalterra who you did get to kind of enjoy a little bit, and we can kind of giggle about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is how we get Ciaran. Oh, and we love him.
If villain, why hot?
If villain, why hot? And like Ciaran is hot. He's so flirty, but he's age appropriate this
I was
time.
gonna say he's at least the same age as the female main character. Like
Yes,
roundabouts. Like they're like
roundabouts,
they're not,
young
it's not like an
adult.
old man and a teenager.
Yes, they are the same age, and he's she is such a dick and he is such a dick. And so it's fun to see her be so rude to everyone around her. And then here is Ciaran, and he is going to be rude back while trying to kill her.
Yeah.
It is a
It's like
very
that
fun
sound
dynamic.
on TikTok that's like, are we fighting or flirting?
Every scene, there are 3 chapters where they have like a big fight. And every chapter in Skalterra is named after a college course because we're playing into the theme of she's trying to get into college. And so those 3 chapters are titled Ballroom Dance 1, Ballroom Dance 2, and Ballroom Dance 3 because I want their big fights to feel like a bit of a flirty dance, which I learned from Star Wars or was inspired by Star Wars. It was like the director's commentary, I think, I think it was for the Star Wars The Clone Wars movie, but maybe it was like a commentary on one of the episodes. I don't remember super clearly. I do remember it was commentary on a fight between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Asajj Ventress. And the directors were saying, and the writers, how when Obi-Wan and Asajj fight, they want it to feel very flirty.
That's so weird, but I like it also.
I like it a lot. And I see it. Definitely see it. The Clone Wars.
I'm gonna have to go back and oh darn, I have to go back and watch it, but I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
I have to watch all the Obi-Wan episodes of Star Wars The Clone Wars. Shame.
Let's be honest, I'll just watch all of the episodes.
Oh, that's true. So because like I was absolutely that kid in high school who's just like watching all of like that extra like behind the scenes stuff, and just the that has always stuck with me. So I was like, this is like what I'm gonna write. When it comes to Ciaran and Wren, he's so fun. And there is like a humanity to him that Adrestus lacks.
Yeah.
So, which is, obviously also a good time. And the nose kisses that he gives Wren. I'm just
so
kisses her.
Exclusive. Is he going to kiss? Is he going to kiss Wren in the next book?
You'll have to read it to find out.
Dang it.
Probably at the very least kiss her nose because he's got a thing for that.
I love that for all of us.
Especially Wren.
Yes. And through Wren, me.
Yes.
I have I have a handful of rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Of varying degrees of meanness.
Oh no.
So we're gonna start with the easy ones first. So, skull magic or apex abilities?
Probably an apex ability. The skull magic's very volatile.
You're like too much pressure. Okay.
Yeah.
Tonka or Jonquil?
Oh
no. Not your siblings. The cats.
Honestly, Jonquil is more fun to write because she's more present.
Fair.
And she has an attitude. So
she watches the store.
Yes, and Matt Dinniman has made Persian cats very popular in books recently. So
smart, wicked smart.
Yeah, sorry, I do love Tonka though.
It's fair. Okay, nose kisses or forehead kisses?
Nose kisses.
Word. Skalterra or Keelwatch Harbor?
Skalterra. There's too many old ladies in Keelwatch. As Sarah would be so mean to me.
This is true. Bagels or froyo?
Froyo.
Yeah, same here. Kiss, marry, kill. Ciaran, Liam, or Farron?
Kiss, Mary, kill, Ciaran, Liam, and Farron.
Uh-huh.
Okay, killing Farron. I'll kiss Ciaran and then I'll marry Liam.
This is the correct answer.
This is the correct answer.
There's two more.
No, no.
Kiss, marry, kill. Fleming, Ciaran, and Vic.
Oh no. I'm so sorry, Sammy. I'm killing Vic. And then I think I'm still gonna kiss Ciaran, and I am wifing up Fleming real hard.
Also the correct answer.
Also the correct answer.
Okay, last one also only has one correct answer. I'm going to tell you right now. Kiss,
Okay.
marry, kill. Adrestus, Galahad, Roy Hendricks.
What is wrong with you?
I cackled.
Okay, hold
I'm
on.
waiting.
Kiss, marry, kill, Adrestus.
Galahad, Roy Hendricks.
Oh no.
They're all bad choices.
God. I know you want me to kill Galahad.
I do, in fact.
But I just talked about how horrible Adrestus is.
This is true.
But he bakes.
He does.
He does bake. Oh God.
Roy brings the heat. Straight to jail, I know.
Okay. I do think I'm gonna kill Adrestus.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I will kiss Roy Hendricks and then immediately shower and bleach. He's also awful.
Yeah.
And then I will marry Galahad because I feel like it can be like a nice platonic marriage.
Sure.
And he cares so much about his job that he's not gonna bug me.
Sure. He'll leave you. He'll
Yeah.
leave you for his job. He's like, you'll be fine without me.
He's bye. I have to go. Okay.
I
I'd
have
be fine
important
with it.
things to deal with, and this is more
Yeah.
important. So
Exactly. But I cannot believe you made me kiss Roy Hendricks. That feels
well, you
illegal.
chose incorrect anyway.
I know. You want me to kill Galahad.
I did, and I wanted you to. Well, kissing Roy Hendricks was the only correct part.
Well, I can't talk about how Adrestus is a literal groomer and then not kill him.
I mean, he bakes. What do the other two bring to the table? Literally nothing.
Roy at least kind of likes his kids.
Okay, but I wouldn't want to marry him.
No. But I didn't marry him. I kissed him.
Pucker up.
No.
You mentioned briefly that you were on a panel at WorldCon. You were actually a panel on multiple panels at WorldCon. So, can you tell me a little bit about that experience?
It was crazy. It was a very busy week because I also had a booth. And then I was on 7 panels and had 1 table talk. Wow. Which is like where people got to sign up and chat with me. It was kind of weird. The 7 panels were all super cool topics, and I ended up on them with like some super cool people, including Gail Carriger, Fonda Lee, and Holly Black, among other amazing authors. I got to do things like talk about writing dialogue for teenagers, which like I love. One of my panels was an improv show, where I like to think I was very funny. It was a crazy week. It was wild to be in such close proximity to so many talented people. And even at like my booth, I would be, standing there and I would have like Becky Chambers come up and it'd be like, well, you're Becky Chambers. And then, Howard Taylor, who's one of the hosts on the Writing Excuses podcast, came up to my booth at one point, which was like insane. I got to chat with Matt Dinniman, like just casually throughout the week whenever he would pass by, slowly gaslighting him into thinking we're friends. I'm not sure how it's going, but he at least would stop and talk. Travis Baldry. I mean, it was exhausting on like a physical level, but like on a creative, spiritual level, it was very filling. So it was a really good time. Yeah.
I love that. So what's coming next for you?
It's a really good question because we are halfway into the Skalterra duology, which means we obviously have the next book that will be coming out next spring. I think the ARC readers all got the title of the next book like in the back of their e-arc, but I don't think I've announced the title yet. So I'm letting my artist Maria work on some like lettering, and then I'll officially announce the title.
Mm-hmm.
I also am hoping to have 2 releases next year.
Wow.
So we'll have Skalterra number 2 and a secret project that I'm hoping to get out in the fall. You're smiling knowingly because you know what it is.
I do.
And it is so much different than anything I've written before, which is, exactly how I've been talking about Skalterra. It's so much different than the Apex cycle, but we're excited. And then as far as like big writing projects, that's my big plan right now. But if you want to check me out in person, I have a book fair coming up in Puyallup, Washington later in September. You can find me or find the information for that like on my Instagram. And then I will be at Geek Girl Con in Seattle November 9th and 10th. I'm not sure, whatever weekend that is.
It's in November.
Yeah. And then the Puyallup Victorian Christmas market I will be at, and fingers crossed I'll be at Emerald City Comic Con, but we won't know about that one until like December, which is a long time to wait.
I feel like chances are pretty good because
we'll see.
You've been there the last couple of years.
I have, but it is getting incredibly competitive. But not a lot of people who are like YA authors like usually.
No, there's a lot of fantasy and there's a lot of like romance.
Yeah. Yeah. So they usually let the YA authors in.
Yeah.
Well, not as many of us.
Well, that's a good thing. Less competition.
Yeah. True.
And you can get the young people.
Oh yes.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And everyone check out Skalterra By Nightmare.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this interview. If you have any questions for MT Zimny, please leave them in the comments. I will be doing future interviews with her. We'll be circling back to the Apex cycle at some point. Let me know if you've read the Apex cycle or Skalterra By Nightmare. They're some of my favorite books. Until next time, later besties.